a moderator.
Wait, isn't he an influencer?
Is natural versus steroids. Step forward if you agree. Steroids are dangerous and should not be normalized in fitness.
What? Okay, so when we talk about fitness though, and if you guys are new to these reacts, we actually go ahead and pause on each segment so I can give my opinion on it. So if you don't want to hear my opinion, just go ahead and skip forward about 2 minutes. Steroids are dangerous and should not be normalized in fitness. If we're talking about like trying to bring more people into the fitness industry, I would say it is very dangerous because like people who probably have bad reactions to that type of stuff. A lot of people don't know what are in it, especially younger people. Because younger people don't do the research, they're given the image, ooh, steroids, you know, they help me get bigger faster. You know, they're a gateway to becoming this huge whole type ordeal or having this good physique. You know, but then they don't do their research on steroids and they end up taking them, and then it has a very bad effect on them. They don't know how. I've never taken steroids, so I don't know exactly what goes on while you're on cycles of steroids. So. I don't know. I just think it's kind of like, you know, giving kid drugs anyways. You know, drugs are drugs. Just that. Drugs are drugs. They can either be bad or they can be good, you know. Weeds legalized in some states for medicinal reasons. So, you know. They let people with steroids into competition, so. But I think, no, they shouldn't be normalized. You go to the gym this year?
Hell yeah. I'm a natural bodybuilder, and you know, I don't really like it when I see guys that take steroids and then they call themselves natural and they compete in the natural organization. So for that reason, I basically feel like they're cheating. So I don't really think that they should normalize it. Once you normalize it, then it gives guys a reason to take those steroids and then come and compete in an organization that they shouldn't be competing.
Then you won't know who's natty and who's not.
Saying that it's actually getting more normalized by people that are fake naturals that are saying that they're natural, but they're actually not. So you think that's actually the biggest part of the problem?
That's one of the big problems, correct.
I think steroid culture is ultimately what is
the Fitness Gram Pacer Test. The Fitness Gram Pacer Test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.
Man, I don't even want to hear all that. Shut up. Shut up. We reacting. Shut up.
The first side of the question is addressing that is dangerous. And there are many health risks that I feel as though they're not spoken about enough. And that's one of the biggest problems. And we can go down a list of like cardiovascular issues, liver damage, skin and hair changing, heart problems, ultimately death if you go far enough down the rabbit hole. Just recently, we had credible, like highly respected bodybuilders in the industry drop dead. Cedric McMillan, Sean Roden, Dallas, George Peterson, and all of these gents were mid to late 30s and early 40s. And if that doesn't tell you what you need to know, then you are blind and you're driven by ego.
And another side I don't think it talked about.
I need one of these shirts. I'm not fat, I'm bulking. I need that.
That is the mental issues,
I need that.
The psychological aspects of void rage, anxiety.
But he's not fat right now, so why is he wearing it?
And that's something that if they don't die from a, like you said, a physical cause, you're living with this being on edge all the time and your escalated moods, and that's something you don't want to deal with.
So the reason that I step forward is because steroids are dangerous. And I don't think there's really anyone that can really argue against that. But that's the reason why I host my own podcast, is the purpose of me being open about the fact that I use them and that I'm in a sport that utilizes them, is because there's a lot of information that people do not know about this. It's like, sometimes it feels like its own university class. I think it's very easy for anyone to just jump in and start it without knowing a thing about it. So
yeah, that's exactly what I was saying.
It's hard for me to say about like whether or not I'm technically normalizing it.
Teenage boys.
But I agree it's dangerous.
Specifically.
And, I mean, you should be informed. You shouldn't just take something that you don't know anything about.
Yep.
100%. I totally agree. I feel like fitness for me, it's more about something, you know, that you want to do to get better, to feel better, to look better, of course. And I feel like the fact that it's getting normalized now, it defeats the whole purpose of fitness, in my opinion.
I remember when I was a kid, growing up, I played football, ran track, baseball, the whole nine. I'm from South Florida, very competitive state, and we used to joke and say, I don't even do protein shakes. That's how much it stigmatized that we thought protein was the key.
Yeah.
No, we thought it was juicing. Like we literally was ignorant to the fact that like
for me it was creatine.
Creatine too. So I would drink a protein shake. My friends like, bruh, you're not natural. And this is like 16, 17.
Bro,
so we're
what?
not that young, but we're ignorant to it. And that was I'm 36, so that was like 2003 to 2005.
Yeah.
And going to the point where it's more normalized, I feel like I've met kids who are 18, 19 who haven't even finished puberty.
Younger.
Right.
So it's like one thing to use it. It is what it is, but it's like you haven't even finished growing yet.
And that is the problem when you normalize.
Yeah, you see, you guys see how they are discussing like the younger people, right? You know, that's exactly what I was talking about before they even started talking. It's literally like, okay, there's adults that already do it, but the fact that you have younger people wanting to take steroids, or they see people taking steroids and they see like, oh, bro, that guy is jacked. Oh, he takes steroids? I want to take steroids. You know, that's why it just shouldn't be normalized in fitness at all. Because, you know, you have younger people that look up to you, especially the bigger influencers, or, you know, yeah, the biggest influencers or the biggest bodybuilders, you know.
By steroids, then the young kids are going to start taking it also. And then, you know, those are the ones that are going to be dying quick, right? I mean, people don't talk about that. They just talk about, oh, you look good, you know, you're going to get buff. Sure, but there's a lot of implications to it.
Based on what you guys are saying, do you think that there's an age where it's more or less appropriate, or do you think it's across the board?
At least 5 to 10 years, you got to give yourself a real training as a natural.
Yeah.
You know, if you even think about that. But I would just say don't do it anyway.
So my opinion is that the use of steroids for visual appeal or physical alteration, the visual aesthetic across the board should not be normalized. I don't think that's good at all. There are times when you get later in your age when your hormonal levels start to decrease. And there are times when people will take testosterone or whatever chemical, whatever substance that they need to get their levels back to normal so that they can feel better in day-to-day life. That's the only time in my opinion, when I feel it is appropriate. But outside of that, if you're using steroids to look better, to get shredded, to alter your
Is it ever
physical
appropriate
appearance,
to take steroids though? Like, cause what he just said, fact or cap? Because that's just like saying, you know, oh, I need cocaine, you know, to live a better life. It's like, huh? A drug is a drug. I don't care what you think. A drug is a drug.
All right, can the disagreeers come and step forward?
It's good, Scooty.
All right, so I think you guys have a misconception of steroid use, and then you guys have a wrong grasp of steroid abuse. So a lot of what you guys were talking about is steroid abuse. Like all the people you named who died and were very young or whatever, were abusing steroids. And I didn't step forward fully because I can't get that. Steroids are definitely dangerous. I wouldn't tell people to do it or not to do it or whatever. I wouldn't bring it upon people, but I couldn't get down with the whole thing.
I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's the verbiage that a lot of people that use steroids use, which is totally understandable. But that's the thing is like communication is difficult sometimes. People use verbiage in a different way. So a lot of people will say any steroid use is steroid abuse.
Right.
That's the problem. But if you're most of the time, only the people that are in like the bodybuilding industry who literally spend day in and day out studying this for themselves and for whoever else they're dealing with, if the coaches or their athletes themselves.
If you use steroids, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised by how many people use steroids.
You can be
For sure.
risk averse taking it.
So I think everybody's reading beyond what this question is. Steroids are dangerous. What's a steroid? How is it dangerous? In what application? If you look at the testosterone level of a 20-year-old man.
Oh my God, here we go with these fucking, who the fuck is this guy, Mark? Is he an influencer? Is this guy a fucking influencer, bro? He's speaking like he's trying to sell something, bro. what is you know, what makes dirt? You know, is the feel of it, you know, like dirt? Can you pour water on it to, you know, make it do such and such? I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. Steroids a fucking drug.
It is at the same level as testosterone level of a 7-year-old in the 1970s. We have a low testosterone epidemic. Most men over the age of 30 have female level testosterone. Testosterone being low is more dangerous than having your levels normalized via TRT. So looking at that question, you're thinking about somebody going and just jamming grams of test in their delt every day.
It's dangerous.
That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Too much water is dangerous, right? We all agree you could die from too much water. So by saying that steroids are dangerous, what about you have an inflammation attack, prednisone? Is that dangerous?
Too much McDonald's is dangerous.
Sure, but that's not necessary.
Bro, what the fuck are you talking? Why are you trying to switch the conversation? Motherfucker. My guy. Do you know how much more convenient it is to get McDonald's, right? There are people who can't, like, bro, there's people who can't afford fancy ass food, or don't have the time to be able to make good ass meals, so they have to resort to McDonald's. But now you're trying to compare it with fucking steroids. Okay, I don't even know how expensive steroids are. I don't know where you can buy them from, but I'm pretty sure, you know, steroids isn't cheap. It's not cheap for sure. It's a lot harder to come by. You know, there's McDonald's on every fucking every corner. So it's a lot easier to eat McDonald's. It's a lot easier to eat McDonald's than it is to take steroids. So what the fuck is make you want to take steroids? It's still dangerous though, right? Right? It's still dangerous. It's still a way that you can, you know, oof yourself. You know, it's a drug. It's a drug. Food's a drug. Food has always been a drug. It doesn't matter what you eat. You know, I can eat fucking, I can eat thousands of calories of, a fruit. Still wouldn't be good for me. Anything that you eat in high moderations will never be good for you. Shut the fuck up.
So in the fitness world,
to become aesthetic, right?
Well, the question
And
was
most guys that are at the gym that I see,
I just know what that arrow looks like.
Are
Sneeko?
steroids
Cap.
bad? And that's the problem with the natty camp.
Cap.
You guys vilify all steroid use when it's therapeutic. AIDS patients, should they be allowed to use steroids?
I'm a natural athlete, despite what everyone thinks. and
Nah,
says.
I'm calling you out.
Whatever, dude.
You, Michael Hearn, Senior Panda.
Whatever, man. Listen.
Once you get tattoos,
Bro,
you're not that.
There's different type of steroids, right? There's different type of steroids, right? I'm looking it up right now. Yeah, there's different type of anabolic steroids. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's specific steroids that people use for working out. You're not gonna use a fucking dog steroid, right? You're not gonna use a cat steroid, right? You're gonna use a steroid that helps you with your performance in the gym. Right? So what the fuck is this motherfucker saying?
Michael Hearn.
Despite what everyone thinks. and
Nah,
says.
I'm calling you out.
Whatever, dude.
Hold up.
Steroid use when it's therapeutic. AIDS patients, should they be allowed to use steroids?
Yeah, see, so he wait.
You guys vilify all steroid use when it's therapeutic. AIDS patients, should they be allowed to use steroids?
Did he just say aged patient? I don't know what the fuck he just said. Dude's just spitting shit. You know, saying that steroids are therapeutic, motherfucker. You realize that they're not using performance enhancement steroids, right? You won't see somebody in their deathbed using performance steroids, right? Okay, so the ones that you're using to get jacked are you know, good for you? Is that what you're trying to say? They're helping you survive? Is that what the fuck you're trying to say? Is that what is that your argument? Is that your pathetic ass argument? Really? Interesting. That's exactly like people saying they need weed to survive. You know, those teenage people, or like those below below 25-year-olds that, you know, buy weed every week saying, bro, I need to go get me some weed, you know, or saying, you know, I can't afford this, but, you know, I'm going to get me some weed, you know, tonight, you know. What's up? What's up? It's always the motherfuckers making excuses for themselves, bro.
Steroids?
I'm a natural athlete, despite what everyone thinks. And
Nah,
says.
I'm calling you out.
Whatever, dude.
Yo, it's good, V.
Michael Hearn, see me.
Baldur's Gate 3, it's not my type of game.
Listen.
Once you get tattoos,
Bro,
you're
there's
not
a level you can't reach naturally. There's a level you can't reach naturally.
You're absolutely correct.
Everybody knows it. And I love bodybuilding. And I love the image of the golden era. Everyone knows that.
Do y'all realize how insane steroids are? You cannot work out, take steroids, and still look jacked. You know that, right? Compared to somebody who doesn't take steroids and that are doing push-ups, sit-ups every day, you will genuinely look way better than them if you're taking steroids and doing nothing.
Because it's something that's untouchable, right? It's a physique that you can't buy.
It looks so yellow on the
And that's
camera.
only thing
That's
you
because I
can
have a
get
yellow
there
light
by
here. I'm waiting till I get my white light, and I'm gonna put it right here. And it's gonna even out whenever I get my new camera.
But everything.
Well, all these hot
But the
men.
question wasn't about that, but I think that it's very subjective. It's very
talking about,
opinionated
V?
because we all have our individual
So would you all agree?
experiences with
Would you all agree that in some cases, steroids are
Are
therapeutic?
not dangerous.
Yeah, if it's medical.
If it's medical, literally what he was about to fucking say. Not if you are taking steroid enhancement fucking, if you're not using gear. I mean, sorry, gear I think is a specific one. If you're not using steroids for your fucking gym performance, you motherfucker, you fucking Papa Smurf, sorry, you are using steroids as an excuse right now in this whole fucking conversation saying that it's therapeutic. Motherfucker, you're using it just for your gym performance. We know this. We know this.
But I mean,
If you're using it for medical use, correct.
mentioned
But
people-
Well, what's a
most
medical
guys at the gym, if you're going to the gym, you're not using a therapeutic, or you're not using because your test is low. You're using it to be I just want to be an asshole at the gym. You know what I mean?
So taking steroids makes you an asshole.
No, I don't think that. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying like most guys use it for that.
I don't
reason.
appreciate you calling my friend. an asshole. Okay, that
I'm
was
not calling him
Oh,
an asshole.
that kind of, maybe it's the test levels, dude. Maybe guys on gear are f***ing warriors, and the guys who are natural, we have low tests. Like, no.
Well, no, not exactly. I know somebody who was you know, on what was it? A-ball. I think that's what it's called. He went to the Genesis that I was going to, and bro was nice as fuck. Bro was cheery. He was open to talking to anybody at the gym. So I don't think that. I mean, maybe in some cases, you know, because their testosterone is a lot higher, you know, so they're a little bit more timid, on edge. But from my experience with people who use steroids, you know, some of them were actually pretty nice.
my test naturally is 957 nanograms per deciliter.
Well, I don't think I have low test either. But if they feel that way, because look at them how they work out, bro. Intense, and they're making gains.
People on steroids?
Yes.
Of course.
realize why they developed steroids,
Sure.
right? It wasn't get jacked. In fact, in the 1980s,
Sure, but
they
if
were
I'm
telling
taking
us that steroids don't cause muscle gain. That was the government's.
Why are we talking about the fucking 1980s? Why are we still living in the past? Motherfucker, we're talking about you. We're talking about right now. Okay? We're talking about in the fitness industry that's happening right now. We're not talking about the 1980s, my guy. Do you live in the 1980s? I don't think so. I don't think he does.
Official message. So steroids, when taken in excess, like anything else, can be very dangerous.
Which
right?
that's the problem.
But the problem is, and this is probably something down the line. The problem is when the fitness industry takes something and they amplify it. I think that's what you guys are arguing. That the young fitness influencers who are promoting copious drug use to get to their goals, making millions of dollars on YouTube, it's going to get a lot of kids to do it as well.
Here's the thing, just because something's dangerous, like abusing steroids dangerous, that doesn't mean we shouldn't normalize it. Like, you guys are saying we shouldn't normalize steroids, it's bad, but you're also watching the Olympia. Those are the people that blast grams of gear. Like, things that are awesome, entertaining, are dangerous. UFC, dangerous. NFL, dangerous. You guys all watch the NFL. It's Sunday, you're probably...
Walking into my house, dangerous. Driving on the street, dangerous. Walking on the street, dangerous. Grocery shopping, dangerous. Guess what? Everything that we fucking do is dangerous. You can't use all this as a fucking excuse. Right? You want to know why I said all those previous things were dangerous? People get shot every day. People get shot every day. Wrong place, wrong time. You know, that's dangerous. You know, they couldn't have prevented it. You can prevent using steroids. You know, even, you know, maybe their first round, you know, didn't have a negative effect on them and they weren't hospitalized. But maybe some people who tried steroids for the first time, they had a negative effect and maybe they were hospitalized. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So
probably pissed you missed the last game. Even though more people in the NFL are dying trying to get there, more kids are dying trying to get there than there are people that are the kids abusing steroids. So just because it's dangerous doesn't mean it's bad to put out on the world just because, you know, we're humans. We want exciting, entertaining stuff. And nobody's denying that it's dangerous, but we can still enjoy how insane it is to look at a monster like this. It's like, that's incredible.
But is it worth it though?
I have children that age. How do you get them not to get jacked? And yes, young people on testosterone, it is messing you up. Like, you're in an age where you're developing, teenagers, they're developing, they become infertile. There's a lot of bad things that can happen. So the key is, by discussing it like y'all do, we're able to go and say, oh, here's the negatives from it. So as long as they're being fair and balanced with, I'm doing this, but I know I'm also doing this negative thing, I think we're in a good spot.
Well, there's also on the cigarette pack, it says you can die, but people still smoke. So in the end, people just make their own choices.
Yeah,
exactly.
That gives,
Which is, there's no problem if you're making your own choice.
Our point, no?
But there is a problem if you're teaching other people that it's
That
okay,
is true.
right?
Well,
When
but
Camel used to smoke, they had cowboys and they were smoking like, hey, look at me, I'm cool. Well, every kid wants to be like that, right? So you're kind of deceiving the kids.
Well, you're not deceiving them because cigarettes and steroids are dope. Like, you're out here getting jacked. To be in the NFL, you gotta be on steroids, which is dope. Being jacked, dope. Smoking dark.
Is everybody in the NFL on steroids? Or did he just fuck up trying to prove a point? Sorry for all the coughing. I'm still kind of sick. Hold on. I gotta rewind that a little bit.
The kids.
Well, you're not deceiving them because cigarettes and steroids are dope. Like, you're out here getting jacked. To be in the NFL, you gotta be on steroids, which is dope. Being jacked,
yeah.
dope.
So people who like use steroids and can only rely on steroids for their fitness content, I don't think that they should have a platform because they push out content, you know, that isn't, what would I say, that kind of like influences other people to work out and stuff like that, right? And then whenever people don't get the type of results that they see that their influencer is getting, they kind of wonder, okay, so what are they doing that I'm not doing? Oh, they're taking steroids. Gotcha. Let me start taking steroids. See if I can try to get the results that they're getting. Crazy.
Oh, smoking darts, dope. It's all dope. Why are we pretending like it's not dope?
How long is this? I said at the beginning.
But why are we not talking enough about, like, wow, that is a really fun, cool thing that changes life for the better? Even though I know it's unhealthy, everyone's hammering the unhealthy. A good cigarette and some coffee, that's awesome.
Well, first of all, I don't have a problem with guys that choose to do steroids or not, right? That's their own choice. I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that when you say that that's cool, he's saying, you know, like, oh, that's cool, that makes you badass. Every kid wants to be a badass. And they don't realize, they don't have enough time for them to understand the implications that happen, right?
But
All
saying
the
it's
debt.
cool is not necessarily promoting it.
What's happening?
Saying it's cool is not necessarily promoting it.
Well, we say that.
It is
but
promoting it?
is
Well, it's
it?
like, I like what I like. They can watch you and be natural, and you say that's cool. I like what I like. I'm just gonna talk about what I enjoy.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I get it. But I think when you're young, most of the kids can make their own decisions, right? Like you and I can make. If we're older, we can understand this. And
That's true. That's why you're a lot more prone to being scammed when you're a kid, because when somebody says, "Ooh, you know, I can do this to you. I can help you with this for free." You know, I mean, sorry, if you give me $5, you know, I go ahead and give you $10 right now. You give them $5. Oh, they scammed you. You're a lot more gullible when you're a child. You really don't make your own decisions because you're used to people making decisions for you and helping you out, and you think that everybody is, you know, helping you out for your own good or like trying to help just trying to help you in general and saying, oh, you know, nothing bad is gonna happen. You're just more gullible as a child, you know.
Been through it, so that's the reason we can speak.
But that's
from
the
that.
game, is you have to grow up and make your own decisions. We can't be feeding them decisions, or you see what I'm saying?
I got a question for you, you guys. Have you guys ever thought about hopping on? Like, ever?
I have.
Okay.
But you're also
so
not in control of those children, to be honest.
Never thought about it. Have you?
I haven't because of the health reasons. That's it.
That's the number one thing you
That's
just
number
shut
one.
it out of your brain.
That's just my personal reason. Doesn't
Okay,
matter.
now why did you think about doing it? I'm curious.
So the reason I thought about taking steroids is because of seeing as though I look like this natural, and I've been able to be successful in the sport up to this point. I'm Mr. Universe in the Muscle Mania, which is a natural bodybuilding federation, and that's a pretty prestigious title just in bodybuilding overall. With it being that I look like this natural, I've been training for 14 years. I know that if I were to take steroids, I would more than likely like blow up. I would end up just capitalizing on my physique, my genetic potential. I would look just more
That's the reason why I think that there is a
freakish.
reason why people should hop on. Is because people like you and people like me have thought this shit out for a long time. We know what the potential is. I'm saying if we ever wanted to take it to that level, bro, you know what it takes.
I know what it takes, but just like him, I refrain because of the health reasons. Because
And
I'm
that's a
thinking
personal
about
choice.
It is a personal choice. Yeah.
The thing is, there's a lot of like health repercussions, but it's a whole nother job.
Could go the other way around, though.
When you go into bodybuilding and you decide to go that route, there's going to be a whole list of things that you need to learn and take care of when you're doing this, you know? And it's going to be a lot of money too, like a ton, you know?
add years
Especially if
onto
you
your
care
life.
about your longevity. And a lot of pro Olympians and bodybuilders will say too, good blood work builds muscle in a way. So basically, like, an unhealthy body is an unresponsive body. So the more you just like just eat Anadrol every fucking day, sooner or later your body might not be growing as well. And that's like one simple surface level thing that you have to think
Holy
about. But
yeah, dude.
add that on top of all the other things you need to think about to make sure that you're going to not die of a heart attack by age 40.
You're literally still gonna have fucking health problems no matter what, bro. If you take steroids, just know that you're probably gonna have health problems later on down the line. Just know that. Possibly. I don't know. Natural bodybuilding is the only honest form of bodybuilding. Yes. I mean, what I mean, natural is honest. Modified, no, that's not honest.
Natural bodybuilding.
That's like saying that's like those people who, you know, bet, you know, a streamer starts a Minecraft world, starts building their house, stuff like that. Boom, they close off stream. They come on stream the next day. They have a big ass house. You know, they got full netherite armor. You know, full netherite sword and everything enchanted. And it's like, yo, so chat, I did some off stream grinding and stuff like motherfucker, you were only gone for a day. Like, all right, yeah, you know, be honest with yourself.
Is the only
Wait,
honest.
I've never looked at Era and thought little boy, but seeing him in the corner of this vid, comparison is a thief of joy.
Form of bodybuilding. Agreeers, please step forward.
It's the only real, honest, authentic form of bodybuilding because you were going with nothing outside of what you could achieve by natural means. And when you involve steroids or any kind of enhancement drug, you are now stepping outside of what you could achieve naturally. It's not really much more that needs to be said. I think it's just that plain and simple.
That goes back to the argument where I was saying that like somebody who takes steroids and does nothing all day compared to somebody who is natural and does push-ups and sit-ups every day, the person that takes steroids is gonna look more jacked. It's just what steroids does to your body.
Genetics play a huge role in the sport of bodybuilding. Do I agree that a lot of people that are blasting gear right now should be blasting gear based off of their genetic buildup? No. I don't think that a lot of people who have the potential to win. I don't. But if we were to delete all steroid use and just we all have one genetic buildup, one that God gave us, or we have the food that grows on the earth that we all eat. Why can't we just take what is given to us and see what we can make out of it? But I just feel like human beings always have to take it to the next step.
All right, disagreeers, please step forward.
What is natural bodybuilding? You take a polygraph test. You have to be natural for 7 years.
Holy fuck.
So we know from recent data that
I don't like this
steroid
guy.
use lasts. It makes you pretty much more awesome for life. So what is natural? So that means that all natural organizations, the
Wait,
WMBF,
what the fuck you talking about? What's natural? Let me hear your fucking argument again, because bro comes in talking like he's on a fucking stream.
What is natural bodybuilding? You take a polygraph test. You have to be natural for 7 years. So we know from recent data that steroid use lasts. It makes you pretty much more awesome for life. So what is natural? So that means that all natural organizations, the WMBF, the OCB, all those things, they're not honest, because all of them have this 7-year thing. There is no natural bodybuilding organization. And honestly, no one would watch it. There's a natural Mr. Olympia, nobody knows about it. I didn't even know there was.
Are you sure?
It was? Damn. See? I'm literally an IFBB pro. I had no idea that was this week.
Yes, natural Olympia.
But we all know when the Olympia was. We all know when the Arnold's going to be. We all put in our calendar.
I know when
People want to see, the people want to see the big freaks. But the bottom
I
line
think that
is,
there's a difference between what people want to see and also what's good, right? Or
Well,
what's
honestly,
healthy, what's the right.
if you want to be honest, I didn't know that there was a fucking steroids Olympia. I didn't know. So, there you go, Mark.
You said
so
honest.
there's the right thing and there's
is natural bodybuilding
You
healthy?
said honest.
Is
well,
getting
natural
down-
bodybuilding to a certain degree is not.
Is
correct?
getting down. Look, I
But
would argue.
I think natural bodybuilding is not as unhealthy as taking drugs.
Okay, so getting yourself down to 5% body fat, where your testosterone plummets to the single digits, that's healthy?
Sure, no, that's not healthy.
Do you realize a lot of female competitors in natural organizations have issues getting pregnant later in life because they tank their hormones?
Sure, people eating,
So
McDonald's
there is no healthy bodybuilding. To compete at a level that doesn't look like shit, to look amazing like that guy, you're going to be unhealthy. And I will argue that having stable hormone levels is as, if not more healthy than having tanked hormone levels from being natural.
If you are enhanced
he is
or honest about it, does that make it still?
He is trying his absolute hardest to make him taking steroids. I mean, to give him an excuse to take steroids. He is trying it so hard to defend himself. So fucking hard, bro. Steroids is way more unhealthy. Taking steroids, rounds of steroids is way more unhealthy than natural bodybuilding. Point blank.
Not an honest form of bodybuilding, since there's these tools at people's disposal, and they're being honest about utilizing those
Sure,
tools.
as long as they're competing on the other side, right?
Yeah. So if he's telling someone what he's taking to get ready for a show, that's honest.
Well, that's honest.
Well, everybody's honest because everybody in IFBB is on
As
drugs.
long as you say it, right?
Yeah.
The problem is a lot of guys that do take steroids, they say they're natty. That's the other problem, right? That's the only problem.
Oh, I think we all have a problem with that.
That's a big problem with that.
The body.
Because I like how he's only using like competitive bodybuilding. He's not saying in general. So I think that maybe they're all looking at it as a professional / competitive point of view. Because overall, a natural bodybuilder is way more healthier. It's way more healthy than a steroid bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a bodybuilder. I'm a natural bodybuilder. I don't take steroids. And I feel healthy as hell. I feel good.
The positivity movement has gone too far. Would the agreeers please step forward?
Wait, the body positive movement has gone too far. 100%. I mean, we've already done this in a previous video. I'm not gonna go over it again.
Like, I'm all for confidence, someone being confident in themselves and the way they look and being happy with who they are and, what they got going on. But it gets to a point where, like, the unhealthiness shouldn't be something that you are proud of. I think that's really not the way we should go about getting the message out because
Wait,
there's
I
a
might
difference
skip this
between
part, to be
healthiness,
honest.
what is considered healthy, what is considered fit, and what is
Because
unhealthy,
we've
what is
already done
unfit.
this in a previous
So
video.
what's the number one comorbidity?
If you guys want to be able to see this
Obesity.
segment yourself, then
We should not
you know I'm
celebrate
gonna
fat.
leave the
We
link
should
down
shun
in the
fat.
comment.
We
I
should
mean
help
down in
them
the
lose weight.
description. Steroid use leads to unrealistic standards. Yes. Yes, 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 because this is what people see influencers as, and then people start comparing themselves to influencers and, you know, wish that they look like they're influencers, so they start taking steroids because that's the new standard that people would like to see. I mean, would like to have, which becomes the new standard.
I was probably here not too long ago when I was competing in some shows, natural. When Men's Physique came out, like what, 2012, 2013 or something, I was like, wow, dude, I've always wanted to be Olympia, but I'm never gonna get that big because I don't want to take steroids, I'm scared of needles, all these things. My parents would disown me. And then I competed in the shows and thinking like, oh, Men's Physique is out, I can definitely, maybe I can make it there naturally. Competed at nationals like 3 times and I got 16th plus place. And they don't place anywhere after 16th. So I was just like, damn, I fucking suck.
Getting there, my brother.
Yeah. And then I was with the coach at the time, and I know this is something that's, I think there are a lot of coaches out there that care about the health of their athletes and their individuals, but there's also those who just care about their athletes being first place.
Mm-hmm.
And my coach at the time was saying, if you want to do well, you got to take some shit, bro. And I would keep
That's so
denying him,
cringe.
like 5 shows, then the last 3 national shows, I just kept denying him, and then he kept pressing things, and he's like, take these aromatase inhibitors. They're going to dry you out. And I'm like, well, bro, I'm getting 16 plus place. I'm never gonna get my pro card. It's not a steroid, right? So I can take it. And this is kind of part of the reason why I feel like one of my biggest purposes in life right now is to just educate as much as I can, at least with whatever information I have, whatever information that other people have that are experienced, is because like, I didn't know anything about gear, and I took aromatase inhibitors as a natural because it would make me drier on stage, bro. And that shit me up, man.
Wow.
And long story short, there was a lot of other things that happened, but I basically put myself up long term. And at one point I was like depressed for a year, and my female
So
friends
he
were
basically
telling me I
got
should
forced
probably
into
look
taking
into my mental health. I'm
steroids.
like, it's not my fucking mental health, man. Like my hormones, something's fucked up, and I don't know what it is. So I just think the standards,
Well, tricked into it, taking it.
as epic as bodybuilders are nowadays, as much as I love the golden era, like the standards aren't realistic for people that are natural and that want to stay natural.
Whether we like it or not, this shit is going mainstream with steroids, and these kids are f***ing themselves up real bad, and I've seen too many cases of it. So I think the more of us that come out and talk about how to do it correctly and how to mitigate sides and risks and do it the right way, I think that's gonna be best for our society moving forward.
You mentioned mental health, and this is something like I know you guys talk about a little bit, but going into the point of like disorders, like we talk about body dysmorphic disorder. Not saying someone on steroids gets that just because they want to get bigger, but there's a level that someone get to where they look in the mirror and they think they need to get bigger and get bigger. I think they nicknamed it like manorexia because it obviously affects men way more than women when it comes to getting bigger, when it comes to body dysmorphic disorder. And that's associated with like OCD. You have a obsession. I got to get bigger. I look in the mirror. Now I got to run more, burn my cardio. Now I got to lift more. I got to do whatever. Not even just with steroids, but in the general of like getting to that level. And that develops all these habits. So going back to standards or expectations is like, now we get to a point where our mind isn't right, and then that just couples with the physical point, and it's just a revolving door almost.
Do you think that, and I'll kind of direct this towards the natural side, do you think that more of the openness has now actually helped, let's say, natural lifters like yourself to feel like, okay, like I have actually achieved almost what would be the pinnacle for my age, based on the fact that now I know like everybody on that side at whatever age is now enhanced?
I feel like
I'd like to hear from
the
that person.
genetics are really what's going to make a difference, right? He's natural, I'm natural, we look different, right? So I can't really expect to look like him.
Yeah.
I think some
A
people
lot of
really
people don't understand that
the
genetics play a
have lot
huge
to do
part in
with it,
working
right?
out.
So I'm never going to look like him. He's not going to look like me, vice versa, right? So all 4 of us are natural, but we look different. So we probably don't have education enough about understanding that genetics are going to take a big role, right, on how you're going to look, no matter if you're taking steroids or if you're natural.
I'm not God, I don't know everything, obviously. I probably don't even know much. But what I do feel is that back in the day, I think maybe
Yeah,
we
add me
had
on
the
Snap,
perception
please.
that
I don't add people on Snap.
like maybe Michael Hearn or people that are like really massive and jacked and like maybe on the Olympia stage could potentially be natural. Nowadays, I think it's kind of, I feel like it has flown in the other direction, and I want to believe in the potential of a human body. Like, I think Josh has an insane physique. Like, I want arms like this guy, and I want to believe that that's naturally achievable.
He's 1 in a million.
Yeah, that could be a 1 in a million, but still, it doesn't change my
closer
point.
to 1 in a billion.
It doesn't change my
Yeah.
that doesn't change my point that it is a big controversy on whether or not Josh is natural. Like, that's a common thing. You see it in his comments all the time.
Yeah.
I feel like half the people don't believe him. But I think that part of the reason is because now it's skewed in the other direction where we don't believe, where a lot of people who are witnessing social media in the fitness space believe everyone's a fake natty sometimes.
Yes.
And I think that sucks because that ruins the hope of a lot of people or kids that want to become better.
Yeah, and to
think
speak on
that's
kids,
rough.
it is a problem. I own a youth performance facility.
Yeah, like I couldn't imagine like, you know, making content on, you know, me bodybuilding and stuff like that. And me spending 10 plus years or something like that of getting an insane physique, and then, you know, I just have a bunch of comments saying that you know, that's not, he's not real, you know. He takes steroids and stuff like that. Like, dude, I spent 10 plus years, the past 10 plus years, you know, working my ass off, and for me to, you know, for people to say that, you know, the way that I look is fake, or the way that I look was you know, I cheated to get there. Like that would be mentally fucked up, man. That would mentally fuck me up.
Facility. All these kids expect to put on like 40 pounds in 2 months. Right. Then you have to bring them down to reality. Like, you're not going to do what these guys do because you're an athlete and you're going to be tested. And honestly, you don't need to take it. You're a teenager. Right. So the problem is they see these unrealistic people and they think they can get there. Then they get disappointed when they don't get those kind of gains. So it's one of those things, but it's always been there. I thought Arnold was natural when I was a kid.
Right,
like
me too.
Because
I think we all did.
The gains are not across the board equally.
Yeah, so, but I didn't see anything wrong with that. Here's why. At the time, when I thought Arnold was natural, I thought I just needed to train harder.
Right.
Like, I'm not training hard enough. I'm not big enough, right? So I think that's a double-edged sword, but the kids are a problem. Like, I own gyms, and I see what these kids are doing. These kids are blasting cycles at 16, 17 years old. So there is definitely, where there's positives, we're talking about the positives, negatives.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't care what grown-ass men do. I literally do not care. You guys are your own men. You're grown-ass adults. I don't give a fuck what you guys do. But whenever it gets to our youth, that's whenever things become tricky. That's whenever I start getting defensive, because it's just like, bro, you know, I'm gonna have kids one day, and then, you know, what if I come home one day, or, you know, what if my kids come home one day and was like, you know, Dad, I want to start taking steroids, you know, or, you know, they're taking steroids behind my back or something like that. You know, it's like, bro, like, put yourself in a parent perspective, you know, your kid's taking drugs, you know, like, come on now.
There are definitely negatives to having a steroid culture.
Like, I think that if anyone works hard to become, like, say, as big as Josh.
Look at this
and then
motherfucker.
someday
He's poking himself like he's taking steroids now. Chill out, buddy.
they just never get there. They're not gonna, like.
It's not that
themselves.
time.
Like, I don't think the
What's good,
depression,
Midnight?
like the emotional effect from that is going to be enough, versus saying to this person from the very beginning, you will never get there. You might as well not try, unless you take steroids.
Yeah. Right. I think the big problem in general is just the idea of comparing yourself to somebody, first of all. That is a whole subject for another time.
Comparison is Steve for
But
joy.
Outside of that, I think the whole unrealistic idea behind being natural and achieving a physique that is somewhat steroid-esque is, I don't agree with that, because the fact of the matter is, and I don't care who doesn't believe me, I've never touched an enhancement, steroid, PED, whatever you want to call it, and I've been training for 14 years, almost half my life. The fact of the reality is, it is very real. I know genetics play a huge role in it, and not everyone is genetically gifted or things like that, but the fact of the matter is, there are natural phenomenal people out there, phenoms, and their physiques look incredible. I believe Simeon Panda's natural. I believe Ulysses Jr. is natural. I believe Addie Ray is natural. All these guys who are literally magnificent in their size and stature. And it's just a fact, it's a matter of the natural community is not as big as it should be, in my opinion, in that we're not causing these freaks of nature naturally to come forward and to give the natural community a new standard. And so that unrealistic thing and like the standards, I think natural community in bodybuilding has a huge standard that is just not stressed enough. And that's why it's considered down here.
Probably.
As much as I like love them and everything, it's just the natty or nots when you do them, when you create a video like that, it pops off.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's probably one of the biggest reasons for this skewing.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I forgot that there was even disagreeers, man.
Shizzy's natural, I blast gear, and Shizzy looks way better than me. So it's like, I don't see where the false standard is within the steroid users. Like, you can push the limit and look like Shizzy.
It's a good time to interject, which I found amusing, but I also kind of had the same thought, is a lot of the people on staff here, they thought you guys were the enhanced group of individuals, which is kind of, I mean, so I guess.
The moment I knew Josh was going on, I had to wear an oversized.
Yeah, so I think, I guess the question I have is then follow up to that, just to kind of keep it within this whole argument, is like, how do you guys feel, especially on the enhanced side, like with the staff thinking that that was like they were actually the
That still shouldn't be a thing, as people know in the industry, comparison is a thief of joy. There's some people whose physiques look way better than people who are on gear. That's just how it is, Gear just helps you, fill out your form faster and a little bit fuller. It's not saying that you're gonna have peak biceps. You're gonna have fucking some good ass shoulders. If your genetics don't allow it, then it won't allow it. It's just how it is.
enhanced side?
That's a really good question.
I think because you can't, what's it, an outlier doesn't it make an exception of a rule or something? Like, these guys are outliers, bro. These dudes aren't walking around, like,
That is true.
The reason why, no, it's the truth.
That is
Plus,
true.
the reason why you're so popping.
You will not go into a gym. You would not go into an everyday gym and see these motherfuckers. Especially this guy. You won't. You'll probably see maybe this guy. This guy, he looks more reasonable than everybody here, okay? Towards the average gym goer. But these guys, no. Maybe him on a good day, maybe. But no.
And like they were actually the enhanced side.
That's a really good question.
These guys are outliers, bro. These dudes aren't walking around, like,
Yeah.
The reason why, no, it's the truth.
Plus,
bro, the reason why you're so popping and the reason why you guys have a social media class because you look so good.
when you look at Sean naturally, and he steps on stage, or you look at Josh when he steps on the Muscle Mania stage, versus if you look at me or maybe you when you competed on the pro stage, there's a vastly different look that we have.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something. You guys know, everyone who knows me personally knows that I'm always talking about what I'm thinking. I'm never holding anything back, and I've been saying I'm curious about gear because of all the accusations that I get. You're not natural. Oh, but what if?
Yep.
So what that makes me want to do is do it and shut everybody up, shut the whole place down, and then all of a sudden, that was right. He was right. And now you get the same feeling. You had it too, right?
Yeah, and I think
that's
the
why I
reason-
wanted to know. I was curious if you would take that back. If you would take that decision back.
I think that's a hard thing for me to say, but honestly, I would just say no because my life now is revolves around this as my career.
And so I want to say the gym crafts us like we're swords, bro. Like a man goes in the gym, you go in there cocky, the weight humbles you. You leave different. And a kid who's 16, 17 blasting gear, he's gonna learn the ways of the weights, bro. It teaches men something. I genuinely believe that if they just need a little bit more education, a little more love, bro, keep it real, they just need some love.
I don't think they need gear, they need training.
They need training and education.
They need weights, they need to do hard stuff.
Right.
Kids are soft.
And these phones.
Exactly what I was saying from the beginning. I swear to God. I swear to God. It's literally what I said at the beginning, bro. People who get introduced to steroids, they just lack information. They don't do their research. Whenever they first get in the gym, they want to look like these guys. Well, not these ones because these are the natty guys, but the other guys. They want to look like them. Like. They just lack the education. They just lack it.
Phone sets and
That's the
stuff, like,
majority
they're
of people
not really in the
that
gym. That's
first
not
get into
phone
fitness.
sets. That's funny.
Straight up.
No, I'm
It was
with
good,
you.
Neil.
I think kids need to do hard things. They need to face adversity, and that's what the weights give them. That's what we do at my facility, right? But you don't need gear to get that. Like, I trained for 27 years completely natural, and I loved it. It was great. Nothing changed. Nothing really changed. I just got amplified results. But, like, there's the active weights do not require steroids. Nothing's worse than a steroid lifter, where you need to be on gear to train hard. If you're not training hard without gear, you're going to be a shitty steroid user.
True.
Bodybuilding has
Bodybuilding has improved my sex life. Damn. Oh, that's a bit personal there. But no, but transparency here. Ooh, actually. Actually, I don't know. I don't know. Because I started bodybuilding whenever I was in high school. And I was a virgin all through high school. So yeah, so I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know.
improved my
I'm actually
sex
interested
life.
to hear.
The agreeers, please step forward.
I'm pretty sure that it does help because it helps with endurance, you know, and your testosterone levels are a lot higher, right? So I think it helps.
Fire.
Everyone but 2 people.
Yeah, so I'll just say bodybuilding in general or just getting in fitness, like what I do for a living is I teach younger men how to be more confident and talk to women. Without bodybuilding, that would have never happened. So before bodybuilding, I think I've had sex with 1 or 2 girls. It's a whole lot more now.
One key point we need to address is the confidence that we build as we continue to better ourselves in the gym through bodybuilding. Before I got into fitness in general, I was small. I was the pushover. I was the small fry, and I got picked on for it. So I
confidence,
kinda used that rock
yeah.
bottom to
That's
the
a
point
good-
where I
that's a good key
decided
point.
I wanted to make a change, and I got into training. And before that, and for a long time, I was just very shy. Ladies would talk to me, but I would not give them any kind of, pushback at all. I had no game, no kind of confidence in myself. because I had the dark clouds over me all the time, just people making me feel like I'm very small, and I was. And I finally came out of that. I began to feel a lot better about myself. And I'm to the point right now where my confidence cannot be shaken. I don't care who it is. You cannot convince me that I'm not the guy. And I think that radiates in my ability to interact with ladies and get to that point.
You are the guy.
The
literal guy.
I think we all voted him the guy.
He's the guy. Anybody else?
Well, the interesting thing is when I was younger, same thing. I have a similar story. I'm from Romania. So when I moved to the U.S., I was picked on a lot. I was a little scrawny kid. So going to the gym is what gave me the confidence, made me feel better. The women looked at me much different. Like, okay, this guy's the alpha male, not the.
They catch that aura.
Right.
Wait,
not the
so
little
are they
scrawny-
all talking about when they were young? I mean, to be honest, majority of bodybuilders, they start whenever they're young. So I don't know. It depends. Like if you had a sex life when you were like in high school or not. I don't know. We need people that are like in their 20 that were like 30 whenever they started, bodybuilding and stuff like that, to hear their opinion.
The kid that can't speak English. So in what I didn't live in LA, where LA, it's okay if you can speak different languages, right? I lived in a smaller town in Michigan, so a lot of the guys were like pounding on me, they're the alpha guys. Once I started lifting and I started getting, stronger, all of a sudden I stood stronger,
I think there are some very few cases where bodybuilding.
So
can
far,
hurt.
I've just heard confidence so far. That's all that I've heard. So it might just be confidence-wise. Who knows? But let me hear the other people.
Your sex life. I think some of you guys can think of some cases, like say that you get way too stage lean, or you've been way too stage lean for too long, and that affects your hormones.
I think this might be a good point to bring over the disagreeers because obviously
I forgot they were
they're disagreeers. Let's step forward because we'd love to hear before we start to maybe get into the potential negatives. I'd love to hear from them.
So I disagreed because when I was at my peak physique doing physique shows, about 5-6%, shredded about 190. Honestly, the most attention I actually got from other guys, like, hey man, how I get like you and all this, because I heard your story, talked about like overcoming bullying and stuff, and I guess maybe it's biased for me. I was 6 foot 180 going into high school. I was playing varsity, so that was never a thing for me. So getting bigger or more jacked never really played into my confidence per se.
I was skinny exactly like Joshua when I first started, and it was just 3 years ago. So I saw the transformation really fast, and I've seen the confidence boost. I've seen the success I was able to get just from being more disciplined. I wouldn't say it's just because of the physique. Just going to the gym, actually training hard, she taught me like discipline and actually being able to stick to something. And I've definitely seen what you guys said when it comes to like women and stuff. The reason why I didn't step forward is just because I'm religious. So when it comes to like actually doing the act, I don't really do it. But I've definitely seen the benefits of being in shape and actually building the physique.
Hey, respect.
Okay.
Dude,
Respect.
Okay.
But yeah, that's mainly why I didn't step forward.
Yeah, just like, I don't know, how do you do that? Like,
What do you mean?
like how do you stay pure?
Honestly, it's just a matter of, well, if you haven't done it before, I don't think it's gonna be hard to not do it.
That's
Same
true.
with, like going back to steroids and stuff. If you haven't done it before, you're not gonna be addicted to actually doing it. So I feel like it's pretty much the same thing. I've never actually done it, so I don't really see the point of.
So what are the benefits you'd say that maybe you have on others? Is it, you think, emotionally?
I would say probably. I wouldn't be able to tell you, to be honest. I haven't done it before, but I'd say I wouldn't be able to answer, to be honest, bro.
But it just doesn't look like it's worth your time.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm really, probably more focused on what I'm doing. I feel like the only reason I've only been doing this, like I said, 3 years. I've been posting content just for a year now.
3 years, and
I'm
he
a lot
looks
more
fucking insane.
disciplined, I would say, than others. And I'm not talking about like anyone here, but just maybe because of the fact that I don't have that distraction. I'm just on my own thing.
What religion do you
Yeah,
practice?
honestly, I'll be honest. I have no excuse at all. No excuse. I think that I'm pretty happy with my progress. So far. I mean, I don't look exactly like how I want to. But I think definitely this year will definitely like, push me even harder. But like, I definitely wish that could be like way more visible to show like, bro goes to the gym. He goes to the gym. But of course, I like again, comparison is a thief of joy. But there are times where it's just like, I wish that I did look more like I go to the gym more. So
Islam.
There's no such thing as too much muscle.
disagree. When a guy is just too buff, bro, when anybody's just too buff, it's just doing too much, bro. Like, how can you reach back here, you know? How can you wash your ass and stuff? Like, come on now. It gets to a point where you just need to stop.
I think there's no such thing as too much muscle.
There we go.
I mean, look at you. This is awesome. That's like the most muscle you could get as a human being, pretty much. Like, how much you weigh right now?
280.
Yeah, dude, there's nobody bigger than this. And do you feel like you have too much muscle? Like, that's the biggest. This is the biggest there is. Unless it's like 0.00001, like to the world. This
Bro's glazing.
It's a little different though, because my height being 6'1". I mean, I think there's way bigger guys in terms of like mass.
Yeah, like Nick Walker, but if you, like, first of all, Nick Walker's alive. He's super rich and successful because he has that much muscle, and he seems like he's probably pretty happy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the reason I stepped forward is because I'm pretty sure you're training really hard. I'm not sure, I don't think you're like holding yourself, you know, at 80% not to get too big. I think you're training to fail, you're pushing yourself hard enough. So I don't think, even if you wanted to get too much muscle, you wouldn't.
I like
be
how
able
they're
to,
using
in my
him as an
opinion.
example.
There's no such thing as too much muscle. You know, I train really hard every single day, especially naturally. You're not going to be able to get anywhere close to you, you know. So I don't think there's anything as too much muscle.
So you're talking more from like a physiological or health perspective, like it's almost an impossibility to get like too much muscle to be like disadvantageous for your health. Is that what you're?
Yeah, exactly. Like I have clients coming up to me and they tell me I don't want it to be too big, and trust me, you know, I've been trying to get too big for years now. So I haven't been doing it for a while.
Well, too much muscle it looks different for people. You know, some guys say that they don't want a girl with too much muscle. They're not saying that they want a scrawny little blonde girl. they're saying that they want somebody, a girl that still has feminine features. They don't look like that they're on a whole masculine dump. For me, too much muscle is probably, what would it be? Where's that guy at? That guy right there, the one to the right. That would be too much muscle. I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want that physique because it would be too much muscle for me. This guy's physique, that's pretty fine. Too much muscle is different. It varies from people to people.
Well,
So
of course, but like, it's really hard to get there. So I wouldn't say like there's anything.
Some girls, some girls say that they want muscle, but they don't want to look beefy. Like Ari, for example, she wants muscle, but she doesn't want to look like, a girl that trains for Olympias and stuff like that.
I'll chime in here. That clarified it.
Yeah.
So, physiologically attainable, yeah, I guess there is no such thing. I mean, but if you're looking at the overall health ramifications of it, yeah, there is such thing, because your body still has to pump to that. So from a physiologically attainable standpoint, like you trying to get as big as possible, yeah, keep trying to get bigger. You're not going to get too big. However, will that distort your look?
You check media?
Will that distort that
No, not yet.
waist of yours? Will that distort your size? So yeah, I guess we could say there's not too much muscle. There's no way to get too much muscle, physiologically speaking. But let's say they unlock a myostatin gene. Say we're able to inhibit that. You can just keep growing like those damn cows. There comes a point when it's absurd, right?
Yeah.
So it depends on the nuance of that question. Physiologically speaking, I try to get bigger every day. Do you try to get bigger every day? Everybody back there tries to get bigger every day. I'm 44. I've been doing this for over 30 years. This is all I got. So physiologic, inhibitions in there, yeah, there's no such thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like it's not even possible to get there, so it's not an issue. Yeah.
How many times do people grab your arms in public?
Probably too many.
yeah, I think that they're
walking off
looking
the
at this
plane.
too closely. It's not about how big somebody is. It's what people think too much muscle is person to person. People on these shows, they don't think generally. That's one problem with these shows. They don't think generally.
The flight attendant just broke me.
It's weird.
That's awesome.
It's crazy how people think that's like just completely.
But if I went and grabbed a woman's, I'd be arrested. She didn't grab my balls, but I mean, you get my point.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, it is awesome. You stand out. And let's be honest, everyone here stands out, and we like it.
Can the disagreeers please come
Team
forward?
Toji today.
Let's go. First one. Or actually, no. There's been a few.
No, we've been.
Yeah, there's a lot actually.
I want to go off of what Mark just said about physiologically. So let's talk about like body's homeostasis, always trying to find balance. And now that we live in a modern world where we got grocery stores, TV, social media, I use the term, I say there's no more saber-toothed tigers. So we don't have to worry about the everyday dangers. My man right here, Sean, he said survival of the fittest. Once upon a time, there was a limit to how much muscle you need, because muscle takes energy to exist, right? So it's like, I guess, to an extent, someone mentioned preference. I think you mentioned preference. So it's like, yeah, there's a preference, but I think there's a level where, am I just doing this because I want to get bigger versus like, do I need to get bigger? Because everyone here is above, I would say 98% of the world, not even country, world, to some degree, whether it's strength, look, aesthetic. But do you need?
I think
more?
guys can get as big as they want and looks good. However, on a girl, they shouldn't get too beefy. Well, see that also varies from person to person. Some people think that guys don't look good. If they're really really big, like this guy right here. Or some guys like whenever a girl looks really really beefy. It varies from person to person.
The reason I disagree,
And that's
with
okay.
them
That type of
is
opinion is
I'm just
okay
taking this
because
as literally
that's
that
what
statement
you
alone.
think. There's nothing
In that
wrong with it
statement,
at all.
There is no
Going to bed, good night, y'all. All right,
reference to
Bacon. I
what you
appreciate
guys
you
were
hanging out,
saying,
man.
Right. That statement alone, in the world, can you have too much muscle? Yes, you can. It can be really unhealthy.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's a
Agreed.
that's a
I would even
healthy
just
part
say,
of it, yeah.
I would even just say, like, obviously not to throw a stab at you, Eric, but 9 out of 10 people will probably say you have too much muscle. You know what I mean? And so, like, a lot of people say to me, I have too much muscle, and I don't even think I'm like that big. But I know to an extent, I am obviously much larger than the average person. So in that aspect, yeah, I can get down with that. I think you could have too much. Like, you're huge, dude. You look like an action figure. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of got into bodybuilding, and steroids, I guess you could say, knowing I would never really look like that, so that I kind of X'd that out. But like, yeah, I don't know. I can 100% agree with that.
Like for me, I think like
for sure.
your size would be the goal for me. Like if I could have shoulders and traps and shit like that. But
Yeah,
like,
I wish I had like.
gotta be honest, like
I wish I had good traps, bro.
how much muscle you put on, like the health risks that you took to get there, and to be able to get put on more. Because you said, is there such thing as like too much muscle? If you want to put on more muscle, all that shit you're gonna have to do is just, you know it's gonna be a lot more damage to your body. So I do believe that, yeah, there is such thing as like too much muscle when it comes to the health side.
Absolutely.
I kind of want to side with Niall here. As far as like, generally, can there be such thing as too much muscle? Yes. And I'll use Larry Wheels, who's a friend of mine, as an example, who I'm sure the majority of you here know Larry Wheels. And I'm saying this because he's already spoken on this to the public. It's not like I'm, breaching privacy. But he was once so big to the point where he was.
Let's see them
in the
arms and
mall,
legs, bro.
Going up.
Well, I would have to like. I don't have shorts under my jogger, so I really can't do that right now. But the arms are there. They're there. But yeah.
Stairs. I can't remember how big the flight of stairs was, but he got to the top and he had to rest for a second and recollect his breath because he was out of breath. And then there are times when it just becomes to the point where you can no longer function as a basic human being. Too much muscle to the point where you can't even wipe yourself after going to the toilet.
Yeah.
There's a point where it's too much and you can't be comfortable in the way how big you are.
Yeah. I think all the things you said in the latter half are definitely true for sure. In terms of
I think right now, like the way that I'm sitting, I think it makes me look like I don't go to the gym at all. Like and that's mainly because like my top part up here, just it's not, it's not defined enough. So, yeah, that's definitely something I gotta work on. Definitely something I gotta work on.
And being out of breath, there are a lot of people that can get big, and you just work on your cardiovascular health. There's a lot of things that you can do to work on your cardiovascular health.
I mean, we're all saying you feel you're too big to wipe your own ass. I'm saying Eric is the biggest, and he says he feels great. How are we gonna put words in some we've never felt like? We don't know what it's like to be that
But
big.
if I installed in every bathroom in my house, no, I can, thank God. I think some of it does lend itself to, like I said, being a taller guy. But I think even would consider myself an intelligent human to know the fact that like this size is not healthy long term. Like there is a plan. 35, start downsizing to like closer to 240, probably by 40.
Okay, so if we were talking about too much muscle is like health wise is unhealthy, then yeah, sure. But if we were talking like a generalization with what people think that too much muscle is, we'd have to look at what do people think that too much muscle is, and then if we ask people that what would too much muscle be, they point at many different physiques. Too much muscle wouldn't look like too much muscle to somebody else, or too much muscle would look like way too much muscle to somebody else.
220, 215, probably do the whole like Greg Doucette version of just doing more like aerobic type activity. The unfortunate circumstance is like my brand has grown exponentially based on the size. And believe me or not, most people don't, like on way less gear than most people would assume that I'm taking, just because genetic predisposition is a huge thing. And it's not just based on, just on how you train, but how you respond to whatever you're taking, whatever you're putting in your body, you're going to respond to differently. So I just happen to be somebody that takes less and gets more out of it. Anybody that knows me too or has trained with me knows I train kind of like a psychopath in terms of like the intensity or the length of my sets. So, I do take a lot of pride in that, and I think that's kind of like now it's hard for me because like based on the blood work, based on going and doing a full like echocardiogram, EKG, everything's perfect. So it's like there's not much for me to be like, oh, like I'm gonna die tomorrow if I don't like downsize. So, and plus the brand is built off that. But I do want to take myself out of this. I am the moderator. But to bring it back down to baseline, I think if we were to say, like, I think there's an agreement that there's an amount of muscle from a health perspective that becomes disadvantageous from just for pure health reasons, correct?
Agreed.
Yeah, but with
I'm saying health and
everything,
look.
too much water, so it's like, is that really relevant to this? Because there's too much of everything.
So I think the more interesting part of the conversation, since I think across the board, we pretty much agree on that, from a just communal kind of aesthetic to the eye, let's go to that part of it, because I think that's the more interesting conversation of like, is there too much muscle from like an aesthetics perspective? Because
Okay, yeah.
I think
So
personally for me,
okay,
like,
so that's what he was thinking as well. So I've already covered both.
yes,
both
I
sides.
think there is, and I mean maybe I would even fall into that. So I'm very interested, just if we eliminate the health perspective.
The guy besides the I'm not fat is it? So everybody that is to the right of this. Well, sorry, everybody that's to the right of this guy is on steroids. Everybody to the left of this guy is not on steroids. I think he's on steroids. No, sorry, he is on steroids. Sorry.
Is like too much muscle from an aesthetics perspective can be problematic.
Yes.
But he's the moderator of the
Based
game. So
upon, wait, what do you mean by problematic, though?
I would say maybe
sorry,
like
of the
less attractive.
conversations, I guess.
For sure.
Whatever.
For sure. And there are things that I can pick at right now generally. Bigger guys tend to have they can't even put their arms down, and they look like the
Yeah.
thumbs from Spy Kids.
Yeah,
Not-
I hate how people like walk around in a gym like this, like they're fucking huge as hell, but they're not that huge. I absolutely hate whenever they walk around like that. It pisses me off. Like, bro, you're not that fucking big, dog.
Not like nothing negative against them, but they're built to the point where they don't look like they can walk around and be like they can't do a high jump, they can't quickly take off, they can't perform, and that to me is like very unappealing. A blocky waist, unappealing. Too much muscle to where they can't put their arms down, unappealing. Where they can no longer walk straight and they have to walk around their big inner thighs. You're not like that. I'm not shooting shots at you right now, but there are guys who are much bigger than you and just much bigger in general on the Olympia stage in bodybuilding,
Right.
who, exhibit these traits.
It's just not aesthetic to you.
Yeah,
Not aesthetic to me.
everyone has a different type for sure, but the more, I think, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this correctly because I might just butcher this, but the more, like, the average person there's a greater percentage of people attracted to the average, if that makes sense. So the more that we veer from the average, the more that we are extreme, the smaller the percentage of people that we're attractive to.
Do you guys agree with that?
Right.
Not necessarily.
Do you think we're less?
What is
do you think-
average?
Do you think we're less attracted to the
Versus
the most attractive supermodels?
So like, I don't remember like the reason why it's hard for me to say this is because I don't remember the exact study, but there was a study pertaining to how, like, for example, someone around, say, a 12% body fat percentage tended to be more attractive to people closer to their body fat percentage. It's just an example.
Maybe you just feel more intimidated by that person. That's somebody like him. You may
Kind
be
of like
more
we like
intimidated
to be around people that we're alike, and if it's your partner, I'm sure you would want to have some similarities with them. For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean that goes with a lot of things, you know. Active people like to, be in relationship with active people, couples that, it's tend to be known that, a guy that games a lot, tends to fall in love with a girl that games a lot as well, African Americans tend to date other African Americans. Caucasians tend to date other Caucasians. Mexicans tend to date, it goes with almost with basically everything, Of course, there's tons of other people who date, the polar opposite, but it's way more common for the people who have the most things, interests, or I don't know what the other one is, but I'm gonna just use interest, but who have the same things, to date each other, I mean, it's natural.
True with appearance as well.
It's natural. I mean,
Natural bodybuilding.
it didn't have to be a
is
study,
the
but yeah.
future.
Natural bodybuilding isn't the future because we're already using robots and stuff for things. So it's just right now. This is just the start. I'll be honest. Right now, it's just a start soon we'll have fucking, I don't know. It's just an over exaggeration, but soon we'll have giants, you know, thousands of pounds, you know, lifting shit. Over exaggeration, but yeah. People said that we'll have flying cars by now. We don't. We don't.
The way the world has viewed bodybuilding together as a whole, it's been going on for I don't know how long. I'm not going to say I know exactly when bodybuilding started, but it's gotten to the point where it is now, and we have all these extreme athletes by the way they look, and I think the world has gotten a glimpse of what the pinnacle looks like, what the peak looks
Genetics
like.
have gotten better
it's
though.
Becoming, maybe not now, but it'll get to a point where it starts to die down. It'll become stale because there's like nothing really more to it.
Like this guy's genetics are fucking insane. I don't think that you'll be able to see anybody with his genetics for being natural will ever see his genetics back in like the 1990s. No.
Especially with
1900s.
Having just retired. I don't think there's a lot of excitement as much as there was in the past in the golden era. And as a matter of fact, I just watched Pumping Iron like 3 days ago. And I was witnessing the crowd in the movie. There were children, ladies, adults going to these shows who had no idea what bodybuilding was before having gone to the show. So with that being said, there was excitement and there was like a pull there. And there's no longer that pull. The crowd is not giving standing ovations, clapping, cheering, having a good time. They know what to expect. They come to see what they know will be there, and then they leave. But there's no longer a general pulling theme to the bodybuilding world that I feel like natural bodybuilding, which in my opinion is, like I said earlier, the only real form of bodybuilding can bring. Natural bodybuilding and natural bodybuilders are underestimated. And the fact that myself and bodybuilders like Shizzy and bodybuilders like Simeon Panda, who I believe to be natural, exist, I think the more emphasis we put onto the natural side of the sport, and with that being said, I know IFBB is now having natural qualifiers and they're doing so many more natural shows, so there's definitely a push for it. Is there as much of a push as I believe there should be? No, not yet. But I think that the recognition is coming out and it's there now, and that's happening for a reason. I feel as though once more emphasis is put there, that will cause, like I said, more natural phenoms to come forward and really bring that kind of dynamic entry to the sport.
Holy fuck, you gonna stop talking, dog?
I hope so. Let's let the disagreeers come forward.
You didn't let the other guy talk at all, man. Fuck.
There's no bigger proponent of naturals having their own organization as me. There's no one bigger. We just need the right person to do it. The right person to do it, that's the Manions and Weinbergers. They've done it with enhanced bodybuilding. I think naturals should have their own playing field. Can we all agree on that?
Yes.
That naturals should have their own lane, their own ballpark. Okay? But to think that it's ever going to be as, and I hope it is, right? That would be great. Everybody eats, right? I just don't think there's the means nor the viewership to do it right now.
Yeah.
But I have to have faith in it. I will say not right now.
Yes. I'm going to say that too.
I think there is always the potential. Like there's heads like you guys who I think are making natural bodybuilding pretty dope. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously it's going to be hard, but I think you can always just fight for it, try to be a good representation, and maybe it'll help.
Agreed.
I mean, realistically, there's no way. Like, you can't go from watching freaks at 280. The only way it would happen is if somebody that was natural beat all of the enhanced people.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true.
There's no way you're just gonna step down your standard.
But what if
you guys are thinking
That's
so
true.
micro,
That's like, I don't know if controllers have always had aim assist or not. I'm pretty sure that they probably have, but they haven't been cranked. They weren't always cranked up to what they are now. But it's like saying that, okay, controllers didn't have this much aim assist back then, and now they're. What about making it the new norm? You know, okay, people are just gonna stop fucking using controller. Why would you do that? So, early day aim assist isn't gonna be the new future, because using the now AA is just way better. So why the fuck like there's no way that current AA will get surpassed by version 1 AA. Like it makes no sense.
We need these organizations to play this game. If you look at like the macroeconomic for the whole thing, you want to see bigger, you want to see freakier, and people are always going to gravitate towards more aggressive.
And then if that natural beats everyone, then no one would believe him.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. That's true, yeah.
Double-edged sword again. You know, you get it worse than anybody, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not anybody, but pretty bad.
These three right here. 1, 2, 3 down the line. I mean, you're gonna get it way worse down there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go hate comment as soon as we're done here.
Hater.
But yeah, I totally agree with Doji. Like, there's absolutely no reason to actually watch something that's, I wouldn't say like less good, because, you know, of course it's less impressive. Just, you know, everybody usually like out, you know, he mentioned baseball, basketball, everything keeps going up. And I feel like as humans, you know, we always want to keep going up. That's the way it is. So even if there was a way to actually make it work, you know, natural shows, tested everything, there's not going to be the viewership for it, because there's the Olympia level athletes, which are going to continue getting better.
Have you guys heard of the enhanced games?
Yes.
What do you think about it?
It's basically the Olympics with steroids.
Oh, I did hear about that. That came out recently.
Yeah, it's the problem is you're not going to get top tier Olympians, so they're still going to get shitty times. It's just basically a bunch of dad bods with drugs, running.
That's great.
Well, I will go back
Win
to
the triathlon match.
he was just making. As humans, we all want like the wow factor. We want to be astonished, feel astonished, and I think that's going to be the thing continuing to drive people toward the regular Olympia itself. But then again, at the same time, I have to come back to the point of the natural phenomena that are out there, and that they're just like, we don't have the platform to really highlight that.
Yeah, but the best natty ever looks so much worse than C-Bomb.
Okay, but would you pay to see, or like want to see, like say like me and Josh, like just go head to head, who's fucking better?
Not versus C-Bum and Dude, though.
That's true though.
Yes.
I mean, great, yeah, okay.
It's kind of like the problem.
I'll pay for that though.
The WNBA.
I'd watch it.
You guys are not. Yeah, right. I just wouldn't choose it over.
But like, there's people out there bigger than us though, that are natural too.
But they're not bigger than C-Bum. That's
sleeping.
the main reason. Like, they can get to a next level.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
absolutely, you can get amazing to an amazing level, but it's
You don't
not.
know what we pull out of there, man.
I think
This might be kind of a hot take, but I think shit that's dangerous and shit that's risky, right? Isn't that like a level of masculinity or something, or like a micro masculinity, right? Like I think that should also attracts people.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
bodybuilding's a
Daredevils
dangerous
type
sport,
shit.
And I think that's one of the reasons too why, like, you look at Chris Bumstead, for example, versus natural. Aside from like the look of the physique, that's some hard shit that he does.
Yeah.
Like blood work twice or 2 times a week. How many? I mean, the fact that he's like at risk of whatever the fuck he's at risk for, and he has a family and he cares about his daughter, and like, I don't know, it's pretty fucking intense. So.
Okay, we're gonna do something a little different, a little fun now.
Oh, what is this?
You guys are gonna come forward and write on this piece of paper who you think has the best physique here, and you can put your own name as well. So please come on up and write.
Oh, we
down
already
who you
know.
think
It's
has
this
the
guy right
best
here. No
physique
way.
in the room.
I mean, unless it's either this guy right here, or it's either the one that was standing next to him. Honestly, like his physique way more though. His looks way more achievable than his. Seeing a lot of Shizzy and Josh. That's Josh. Yep. I can already tell it. Hey. Now.
Everybody step forward.
Don't sit in that chair. You're about to get crushed.
You want to sit next to him?
So I haven't putting so much. I haven't putting so much weight on my feet.
You get crushed.
All right. So just got curiosity. Who'd you guys think won? If you had to guess.
Josh.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Josh. So I voted for.
Josh was in fact the winner. So I just love to hear your guys' thoughts on. Obviously, coming from the natural side. You might be probably surprised coming from a group of both natural and enhanced guys that the natural athlete was actually the most preferred physique. What do you guys think about that? Is there any like thoughts or?
I think it's because he's natural.
All right, I don't really care about that. All right. Yeah, all in all, the steroids is cheating. But you know, do it at your own risk. Take you know, do your own research. Make sure you're educated before you even try to do it. Don't let somebody say, you know, hey, go start taking steroids. It's gonna get you big. You know, do your research first. Don't just go into it willingly and just, you know, just be gullible about it. Don't do that. Make sure you do your research so that you don't fuck yourself up, and just know that you understand the consequences that come with steroids and taking them. So yeah, I mean, just do your best. You know, do your best that you